How are you guys doing? How's it going? We're back.
Good.
Another edition of the Canon, the only movie podcast that is providing folks with the most essential movie watch list. We've got another essential movie today. We've got two great folks on. We have okay, so we're gonna do a bit of housekeeping here because Duke is on again, and if you listen to our last episode, you know that Duke is supposed to be serving a 1 episode ban for not following the recommendation rules. However, we had to do some rescheduling. We had to shuffle things around. So Toy Story is coming before Yojimbo. So that's why Duke is back. But after today's episode, I swear, I promise, he's going to be serving his 1 episode ban. We also have that great laugh that you hear. We have the fantastic Ramona, who we are super excited to have on the podcast for the first time. Ramona, you were supposed to join us for Mad Max.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there was an injury that you were recovering from.
Yeah, I was stuck in bed, couldn't get out of it for 4 weeks, so I was kind of lost there. But I'm really bummed I missed it because Mad Max is one of my absolute favorite movies. So, but it was a great episode. I just wish I could have been on it.
We missed you. We miss having you on, but we're happy that you're here for Toy Story.
Thank you.
Welcome on board. Well, I guess you've always been on board, but welcome to your first official episode on the Canon.
Very exciting.
And Duke, I reluctantly welcome you back.
Thanks, Raph. The shackles are still on. I didn't get the key to free myself, so
It's temporary.
yeah, I think this should count as the ban's been lifted. But
I don't know if the ban's been. We'll circle back.
I'm gonna behave this time. I only have 3 picks.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So we'll only keep it at 1 episode for now, hopefully, as long as you follow the rules otherw's.
Don't worry, Raph. I'm not gonna hop on Yojimbo or whatever. However you pronounce it. So this will be the last time you hear my voice for a while, everybody. I know.
Couple of weeks.
Unless there's more shuffling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. So we're here to talk Toy Story today. But before we get into the movie of the day, I was thinking it would be kind of fun if we all sort of just talk through like the first animated movies that we ever saw, whether it be like the first movie that you remember seeing in theaters or something that you remember watching at home. If you have like a favorite one of all time, maybe it's Toy Story, maybe not, but yeah, let's start there. Ramona, what do you remember like the first animated movie that you saw?
I remember bits and pieces of The Fox and the Hound when I was younger. I remember crying during The Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
But that's about it. That's the first animated feature I can remember being home watching. The first animated feature I remember seeing in a movie theater was Beauty and the Beast in the 90s, which instantly became my favorite animated feature and is still to this day my favorite animated feature. So it was just, oh my God, it was everything to me at the time. I think I had the CD, the soundtrack, and just ruined it. I listened to it all the time. And my parents bought me the VHS. I watched it all the time. So, and I still do if it's on or I have an inkling to watch it, I'll put it on. I think it holds up really well. Kind of like Toy Story.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they both Toy Story and Beauty and the Beast definitely hold up.
Mm-hmm.
And The Fox and the Hound is an awesome movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in years because I remember how sad it made me as a kid. But I do remember that I loved the animation. I loved the story. I don't think my heart can take it. So I haven't watched it.
That's fair. That's very fair. Duke, what about you? Do you remember some of the first animated flicks that you saw?
I don't remember seeing this in theaters, but I've been told that the first animated film I saw in theaters was the Tigger movie.
Oh,
that
man.
That would have been 2000. So Ramona's instantly, I bet, feeling old.
Wait,
Oh,
Duke,
man.
are you younger than me?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm younger than you, Raph. I think
thought-
we're only a couple years apart,
Okay.
Oh,
unless you're in your 30s, and then you're way older.
I'm not saying. I'm not going to say anything right now. I'm so depressed.
I'm 31, so
Oh, you got
Youngins.
a few years on me.
oh wow. Duke, I thought you were just like I thought you were just a sweet old man.
No, that's
That's
Dahlgren.
Sailor.
Yeah, Sailor, Dahlgren, Alvarez. Yeah, they're all old.
Yeah.
They're the old guard.
So how'd you become the boss of everything?
I'm the only one. I had a lot of free time way back when we started.
So long ago.
Yeah. It's 5 years too since Toy Story 4.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
And much longer since the Tigger movie.
Yeah.
Did you like the Tigger movie?
Oh yeah, I had the VHS, so I would rewatch it when I was a kid. No, I liked it. Tigger tries to find his family, and then Winnie the Pooh and all those guys pretend to be tigers, and then
they are his family.
And then they find out that they are their family.
I love that.
But nothing, of course, when you're a kid, you're always like, oh yeah, where's the family coming? Like you're actually expecting them to actually show the family, and then they don't, and then you're like, oh.
You got to learn that message, that moral that you make your own family.
Well, more so, even as a kid, I was always like, why are these animated shows or movies like they never progress the plot? Like I was big about we got no overarching.
There's no conclusion.
Yeah, we're back to square one at the beginning, so that's why shows like
that's how they
Scooby-Doo.
keep it profitable.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo, SpongeBob, reset.
Yep.
You can't have any character development, so. But no,
you can't say that. You can't say that about Toy Story, though.
Nope, Toy Story. Yeah. Talk about a film series that actually lets these characters grow and lets the audience grow with them.
Mm-hmm.
Until the fourth film, in which case they kept.
You know what? I have not seen the fourth movie.
It's okay. We can briefly touch on the other ones, I think, Raph, later on.
Yeah,
I don't mind spoilers. I'll watch it eventually. And I'm sure we'll talk about this, but I really feel like 3 was a proper ending. So I kind of resisted 4.
3 was perfect, and then I would have been fine with them doing holiday themed TV specials.
Yes, I love those.
I got Valentine's. I don't know what other ones they did. Halloween, they did Christmas, Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, Easter. If they would have just did one of those every year, I would have been fine with it. But then a fourth film, it was okay. We don't need to discuss that too much. But 3 was a nice ending, I thought.
Yeah.
The Andy trilogy. It was
nice. Oh wow, so there's no Andy in 4. Okay. I guess we don't have to get into that now. So Tigger was your first movie in theaters, or first animated movie, but
probably
what was the first
one? Yeah.
What's the first one you actually remember?
Oh man, I know for a fact that I saw Pooh's Heffalump movie in theaters when I was in California.
Big Pooh guy.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh. Big Winnie the Pooh guy.
I'm glad that you corrected yourself.
Honestly, the first films I remember seeing in theaters were both in California because my grandparents were snowbirds and they go to California. So I saw Pooh's.
When was the Heffalump movie? Which
2005.
Okay, so this isn't like the Windy Day where he's haunted by the Heffalumps in his dreams.
No, this is a different thing. We only saw that. I was out of the Winnie the Pooh demographic then, but it was it was raining and there was nothing else playing in the theaters at the time, I guess. So we saw Pooh's Heffalump movie, and then before that would be the very first movie I remember seeing would be Chronicles of Narnia, the first one.
Oh, geez.
Which would have also been 2005.
Oh, wow.
The movie, right?
Yeah, the movie.
Okay. See, I'm aging myself again. I remember the cartoon.
And then I saw Harry Potter 4 also in California. Ooh, that was also 2005. Well, that was I thought a
Which
lot of
Harry
movies.
Potter?
4.
Oh, okay.
Before that, it was all VH.
Duke, you're
I
a
mean,
child.
I'm too young.
You're a baby.
You're a baby.
You're a baby.
Raph, there's only 4 years between us, so
No,
You're both babies.
Duke, I'm convinced you're like 17.
no.
You're still in high school, man.
Add a decade.
Oh boy.
Ramona, you're sounding older now. I thought you were always in your like mid to late 30s, and now it's sounding like you're in your 40s.
Bless your heart. I am 42, so
Oh, that's not.
but I am a young 42. I'm very immature, and I'm
Absolutely.
sorry if I make any ridiculous jokes during this podcast.
You have to be
please don't be
immature to
sorry.
hang out with us.
Yeah, I don't have it in me to be the 42-year-old wearing the Christmas turtleneck vests, and
Don't be
my husband and I both
Christmas turtlenecks.
we wonder sometimes like what it's like to be other 40-year-olds who act mature and act their age. We are not those people. So
I mean, look, none of us are acting our age right now.
It's true.
We're 3 adults who are gathering to speak about a kids movie from the 90s.
I mean, you said you're a big poo man, and I started laughing to myself. So that's where I am mentally.
Duke the Pooh Man.
Yes.
Oh, okay, let's not get that nickname trending.
Oh boy. What was your first movie?
Yeah, Raph.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? I was gonna try to just sneak us into Toy Story talk without getting into this. I can't remember.
What?
I don't know what it is. I do have vivid memories of watching The Lion King on VHS a lot.
Oh man.
But I remember my parents weren't like the cheapest people. Like they would buy us like VHSs and stuff, but for some reason The Lion King was like the one movie that they didn't buy. And I remember the copy that we had was like something that was like it was like a taped version of a TV broadcast of it
With the commercials.
I think the commercials were somehow like removed or they weren't recorded.
You just stop recording.
You just pause it.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I would record everything, you just pause the commercials, and then when it comes back, you record.
I didn't remember the technology of how to record things on
VCR.
On yeah. But yeah, I remember having that Lion King recording. I feel like my sisters and I like recorded it over a video that was like a show or a movie that like my mom had really liked. And
your parents' wedding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
the birth of your child.
Yeah. It was all 3 of our births.
Oh my gosh.
We re-recorded, we want to watch The Lion King.
But it's The Lion King, so
yeah.
You gotta understand.
I think it was I can't remember what it was. I'm sure it was something that that they, enjoyed watching, but they were gracious enough to let us record The Lion King over it. So I just remember popping that VHS in all the time. I was also a big Aladdin guy growing up.
I liked Aladdin.
But like Aladdin, again, like Aladdin we had on like we bought like the real VHS with, the proper set. Got that in like the sequel, Aladdin and the what was it, the 40 Thieves or the Prince of Thieves or something
Return.
like that. Yeah, something like that.
And then it was 40 Thieves, yeah.
It was I had the 40 Thieves one.
Okay.
But I just always thought it was so weird that like okay, you guys will buy me Aladdin, but like why can't we just buy a regular version of The Lion King?
Yeah.
So I always thought that was hysterical.
Okay, I got a correction to make because I was going purely off theatrical animated films, but I grew up with all the animated Disney films. My my grandparents, like they would buy every Disney animated film on VHS when it came out on like the special edition,
Yeah.
So I whenever I was over there, I'd watch them. So Cinderella, Snow White, Fantasia, Pinocchio, they had all the originals. So I mean, yeah, and Shrek. I remember my parents bringing home, we got gifted Shrek, I think, from
Was Shrek on VHS or was that the era of DVD?
No, that was VHS. Like early DVD era.
I'm still a VHS. Baby.
You had a Shrek VHS?
I have we still do. It wasn't even like the nice, like the plastic case. It was like a thin cardboard, the sleeve, but it was like a fancy one. It had like a little extra.
Really?
stuff on the side. Yeah, it was.
Nice.
Wow. I think I had Shrek on DVD.
Yeah, we had it on DVD.
Yeah.
I think I don't quote me on this, but Elf, I think, was the last, or was it Elf was the first movie to get VHS and DVD. It was either the first or the last.
That you had, or just like in
I think
general?
in general, I don't know. What?
Wow.
That's crazy. It does not feel that long ago to me for Elf.
Elf. Yeah.
Or
Elf
Shrek,
feels
to
like
be honest with you. When did Shrek come out?
2001.
2000. Yeah.
I was
And
working at a movie theater when that came out.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And
Those
that's
both
another
feel like
series
DVD movies.
that's another series that's apparently
they're
gonna
making
get a
another
step.
Shrek.
Yeah. Well, Puss in Boots too was so good.
I didn't
I
see the
mean,
second one. I did enjoy the first one. I haven't watched.
much better than the first one. That's a film, Puss in Boots 2. Raph, in like 5 seasons from now, we'll be talking about Puss in Boots 2.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
Oh, there we go.
It's gonna make the canon.
Nice.
There's a teaser of what one of my recommendations might be, you guys.
Oh, are you adding to your recommendation list? Are you breaking rules again?
This is his 6th.
I might have not even had 3 yet, Raph.
Oh man. I didn't have 3 until I didn't have my 3rd one until like 10 minutes before we started recording.
Whose cat is in the background? He needs a shout out.
Is that your cat?
Bring it in, Ramona.
I don't own any cats.
Oh, that's my cat, maybe.
Yeah,
that's my cat.
So Duke, it's cool if your cat wants to stay and talk about Toy Story with us. If you want to kick him or her out, that's totally cool as well, I think. But if you guys are ready, I think we can jump into our movie of the day, our movie of the week, Toy Story.
Yes.
The original. What started it all?
Yes.
What started Pixar? What started the Toy Story franchise? What started, some would say, an animation, revolution. Completely changed the game in many different ways. Let's hop into it, guys.
Yeah.
Toy Story. Tell me about your first time seeing it, your first experiences with it.
So I did not see Toy Story in the theater, but I do remember the first time I saw it because I was 19. So it was out of the theater for several years before I saw it for the first time. And I started dating my now husband, and he loved Pixar movies. Very big on animation. He was actually a manager at the movie theater where I worked. And that was one of our, movie nights. He was like, you have to watch Toy Story. And I'm like, it's a kid's movie. Oh, whatever. But when you want to spend time with somebody, you do what they want to do. So we watched Toy Story, and I loved it. Like, it gave me so much nostalgia for my own childhood, which I was not expecting. And it just was one of those movies that if it was on TV, on cable, or whatever, I had to watch it. It was so good. And I'm really glad. I'm kind of upset at myself for not having seen it sooner, but that was 1995, which is ages and ages ago for an old lady like me. So that's when I first saw Toy Story.
But now we're here. You saw it and you love it. And
I love it. And I loved the sequels, and I loved, the TV specials are great. If Toy Story is on, I kind of sit there and let it play in the background just to have it on, or I sit in there and I watch it. But it has aged, I think, really well, and it's still very watchable, unlike some movies back in 1995. So
100%.
Yes.
Duke, I'm assuming you didn't see this in theaters because
he's a baby.
Because you weren't born yet.
Want to leave some mystery as to how old I am. So, but no, I have. You're sort of right. There was no period of my life, at least once I knew of Toy Story, where there was not Toy Story 2 with it. I've always had those two together in my VHS collection as a kid. Those two and A Bug's Life. Those kind of were our Pixar movies in our household. growing up. So
I love A Bug's Life.
Very underrated.
Very underrated. We should just do a
Quite
bonus
underrated.
episode about that.
We should.
But no, Toy Story 2, kind of a twofer. Always known them kind of together. So yeah, great. I personally prefer Toy Story 2 just a bit more, but that original one with the clashing of Buzz and Woody, the animation still holds up fairly well. I mean, people will point out how all the kids at Andy's birthday party are just Andy with different hair, but
I did notice that today, yes.
And none of you guys have seen Toy Story 4, so I can't even ask if you guys have thoughts on how Toy Story 4 has a flashback to Andy.
Oh.
But they did a major redesign, so he doesn't look anything like what Andy, because of course.
From when he was a kid?
Yeah, like Woody or Buzz has a flashback. And Andy
Boys have memories?
I don't know. Andy looks completely different because, of course, the animation has changed so much that it would look too uncanny now to have Andy look like what he used to. So a lot of people were not happy about that. I was okay.
Interesting.
But
the dead eye.
Yeah, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Exactly.
That was Toy Story 2, though.
Yes,
again, Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2, I think, is better, but Toy Story 1, got to give a props for what it brought.
It's in the canon.
I think Toy Story 2 actually might be in the canon on its way.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't be upset with that because I love Toy Story 2.
Yeah. People love Toy Story 2 and people really love Toy Story 3.
Toy Story
I don't
3.
know if the Toy Story 3
it's
thing
a great
is
trilogy.
Yeah.
It's a great trilogy.
There's not one movie in this series I haven't seen 4, but there's not a movie I don't dislike. Not even one that I'm like, it was okay, kind of like you with 4, Duke. But the first 3, if you would ask me to rank them, I would have a really hard time.
Yeah, I was gonna. Well, I wasn't gonna say this, but you kind of just made me think. Like, I think to like try to rank the Toy Story movies is kind of like a silly exercise because all 3 movies, and I only consider I'm only like talking about the first 3 because those are the only ones that I've seen. But all 3 of them are like amazing, and whatever. I think however you would rank them is really like it really just comes down to personal preference. Like it's hard to argue against the excellence of any of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just saying it because Toy Story 1 is what we're talking about today and because it's the one in the canon, but I do still think that the first one is the best to me. But I also am kind of like weird in that way where like whatever is the first movie in a series like always has to be the best one.
Interesting.
Like I can't think of any like sequel or trilogy, movie that
Big
where
Batman
I find, like,
Begins fan, eh?
That's a discussion for another day. Batman Returns might actually be better than Batman. Yeah, but
that's funny,
yeah, I mean,
because I'm in the opposite. I think if I had to rank them, it's 3, 2, 1. It's the opposite order.
Yeah,
I think
for Toy Story, right?
Yeah, Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Dark Knight movies. No.
Yeah,
Toy Story 3 is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
2 has, I think 3 has the best emotional story. Uh-huh. 2 has the best story overall, and then 1 is just, it's also there. 4 would be below 1, I'd say. 4 is like it's like 3 again. It's like we didn't need it, but it just also gives us an emotional moment. But
I do think that we needed 3 just to conclude Andy's story.
Oh, you need 3. You need 3.
4,
so I'm not sure if you guys have heard this.
Maybe 4 is just a new
4 concludes Woody's story, I would say. Like it wouldn't make sense to have Woody in the 5th film.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch 4 now to see
the trilogy though as a whole is very much Andy and Woody's story.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's 100%. That through line. What's the word for that?
Through line. You got it. Yeah.
There's that through line through the first 3 films between Andy and Woody. First, you got Buzz coming in. Then you got Andy's got a rip on his arm. He doesn't want, and then he gets stolen. Andy likes Woody a bit more in number 2. And then, of course, in the third one, it's, Andy's grown up. But even at the end, there's still that hesitance to really give Woody away at the end.
I hear that.
But at the same time, Andy does it just knowing that he'll never play with Woody again, and there's that chance somebody else will.
Yeah, man,
Really
it's
hits
tough
ya.
being 18
My
and
mom
having to
cried.
give
My
away your
mom cried
toys.
during Toy Story 3.
I cried during Toy Story 3. There's nothing wrong with that.
I cry during a lot of movies.
Yeah,
I think
me too.
Good. I think it's
Oh, man.
good. But apparently, Toy Story 3, that story, that was the original concept for Toy Story 1.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you can sort of see how like that movie works as like a standalone sort of film. Just like a kid like is growing up and going off to college or whatever and wants to dump his toys, and
Has to get rid of his
that
toys.
that whole story just plays out on its own without. But I think like because it did end up being the third movie and wasn't the first one, I think just like it carries a lot of emotional weight from obviously from the first two films that wouldn't have been there otherwise. So
Right.
it kind of all works out in the end.
Yeah, they
But
did
that
it
would have
really
been
well.
interesting if
The
like Pixar
decision-
just came out of the gates, super hot with that version of Toy Story instead of the one that we got. No, it wouldn't have worked at all. Right?
You have to earn. You have to earn.
Yeah, we're not emotionally attached to these characters yet.
1 and 2 coming out so close together, as most sequels normally do. You have that, but then you have that decade, 12 years or 11 years, 11-year wait, and then you've earned Andy being 18. Your audience that grew up on Toy Story is now 18,
Older,
20.
yeah.
They're in college. And then you have all the moms who are now dealing with their kids going to university, and he's leaving. The toys are leaving. All the moms are crying in theaters. That was my experience, at least.
I would love it if my kids gave their toys away. At this point, just throw them away. Get them out of the room. It's too much clutter.
They're not old enough for that yet, though.
Yeah,
No, they're not.
Toy Story 3 is what I wanted Incredibles 2 to be. Is that I wanted them to age the characters up a bit more than just pick it up right up. Like if there's Toy Story 3, or not Toy Story 3, if there's an Incredibles 3, I need something like Toy Story 3 where we have
you need old man Mr. Incredible.
Well, I remember, not to date myself even more, but when the Incredibles came out, and everybody's like, oh man, sequel. I was like, did I send them? No, I was going to send them a pitch of what I want. I wanted the Incredibles 2 to be where like they're all like older now, they're all like independent, but something happened and the family like broke apart, so none of them talk to each other. And then
that's depressing.
And then they have to reunite. And then I think I was gonna have Jack Jack as the villain because like the family broke apart, and then Jack Jack was bitter. And then I read on Pixar's website that they didn't accept unsolicited pitches.
No, because they don't want to pay you.
Yeah. Brad Bird doesn't want.
That's what fan fiction is for.
Yeah, fan fiction. I mean, hey, they can still do it with Incredibles 3. My pitch, Pixar, if you're listening,
Pixar, if you're listening,
they're listening.
Duke's got an idea for you. Absolutely, they are. So, kind of on the Pixar note, and swinging back to the sort of like Toy Story 1 versus Toy Story 3, and how we needed to start with this story in order to get to Toy Story 3, like having the emotional sort of weight that it does. Do you guys have anything else in terms of like, do you guys have any like background info about how Toy Story, Pixar, all of that stuff sort of came to be? Because, in right now in 2023, Pixar is one of the biggest movie studios in the world. It's the biggest name in animation. And it all started with Toy Story. And like, if this movie didn't succeed, then we wouldn't have, the, close to 30-year history that we do have now with Pixar's entire library. But I was just wondering if either of you guys, and I know this might be an unfair question, but do either of you guys have any sort of like additional background info on how all of this sort of came to be?
I don't have a lot of like hard and fast information about it. I just know I think that I remember reading that Disney was very reluctant to allow an outside studio create a film for them. And I know that I was reading earlier while I was trying to figure out some recommendations for this. I was reading that, Nightmare Before Christmas kind of paved the
Mhm.
way for Toy Story to kind of
Interesting.
to come into being, which was really interesting because Nightmare Before Christmas is one of my favorite animated movies. So I kind of got sucked into the rabbit hole reading about that. But they wanted John Lasseter to make a movie for them. And he kept saying, no, let me make a movie here for you at Pixar. And Disney would say, no, animated films need to be made at Disney because it's Disney. You know how Disney can be.
Yeah,
And I
Disney
guess it
being
was Tim
Disney.
Burton went to college with John Lasseter. And they developed when Tim Burton developed The Nightmare Before Christmas, he obviously became very successful. And they asked Tim Burton to create this movie for them. And he kind of said, okay, they've got this like stop animation going on and everything. And since John and Tim went to college together, Tim Burton kind of pushed John Lasseter in front of Disney and said, let him make you a movie. And that's kind of where Toy Story kind of developed. So I find that really interesting because I love classic Tim Burton. I haven't really been
Mhm,
too fond of his more recent stuff,
mhm.
but just knowing that maybe he had a hand in helping develop Pixar and helping get them in front of Disney. I
Yeah,
do kind of wonder if Pixar would have been as successful without the Disney backing or not. But
interesting.
yeah, it's kind of fun how that stuff kind of works behind the scenes. You have to know
Yeah,
people, but they weren't really willing to let him create a movie for them until Tim Burton said, "Let them create a movie for you."
yeah. Thanks,
I,
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
I
let's
didn't
not
think that
forget Steve Jobs
Yeah,
also
Steve
owned
Jobs.
Pixar. So I think at the end of the day, I think Pixar would have been fine. But yeah, in terms of Pixar Disney, that's interesting about Tim
Yeah.
Burton. I think they got a
was
3-film
for
contract. Disney ended up giving Pixar and Lasseter a 3-film deal, which was for Toy Story, A Bug's Life, and Monsters Inc. the next one. And then there was some
did
shuffling.
he direct
But
Monsters Inc?
I don't think he directed, but that was like the 3-film Pixar deal.
Those were the 3
Yeah.
films.
I think whatever was next, and then they had to Toy Story 2. Kind of was like, I think Disney wanted it to count, or Pixar wanted it to count. Disney didn't want it to count as part of the 3-film deal, and
Mhm.
then
It's a
that's kind of where
film, it should
that's
count.
that's where that initial breakaway came, where it
Yeah.
looked like Pixar was going to do its own thing, and then Disney was going to make Disney-verse sequels of Toy Story 3 and Monsters Inc. And then Disney ended up just buying Pixar after
Pixar,
Disney
yeah.
realized that Pixar is a super valuable
asset.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
production studio to own, and if you can match the power of Disney's marketing arms and merchandising stuff with the power of Pixar's ability to make quality movies, you got something pretty good.
I don't think
Um,
any studio, animation focused or live action focused, has had a 15-year run quite like Pixar. From Toy Story to Toy Story 3, they really did not miss.
I
Cars would
can
be
I
their
agree with
mean,
that.
weakest film. And
yeah,
then Cars
I
2
think
came out
even
after Toy Story 3, and that was the end. And then Brave was whatever. Monsters University. Then people were complaining about the too much reliance on sequels. But then
I
Inside Out
really
Mhm.
liked
brought it
Brave.
back.
I thought that was a really strong movie.
Brave is one of the only ones I have not seen yet. Brave and Onward.
Ah,
Those are the
okay.
only two I haven't seen.
Onward was fine.
I don't Onward looks like a DreamWorks movie. And on my coverage of the
Yeah, I
trailers
could see
on
that.
Screen H Wasteland, I would say this looks like a DreamWorks movie. And that's not a compliment, people.
I don't know.
Uh,
Is that a diss?
That's a diss.
hey, Shrek
Dream
came out of DreamWorks. Shrek's not bad.
DreamWorks stopped trying a long time ago,
They
but now
did.
they're
They
back. Now
did.
they're back. DreamWorks last year was better than Pixar. Puss in Boots, The Bad Guys, and then Lightyear, Turning Red.
Lightyear.
Turning Red was okay.
eh. Turning Red, yeah, it was all right.
It was okay. As a Canadian, and
Luca
that's
was
being set in
cute. Luca was
Canada.
cute. I did not watch Soul.
Luca was cute.
Yeah.
Soul, all right.
Soul is good. I like Soul.
Soul crushed me. Soul is like not a kid's movie. Soul is a movie for adults.
That is an adult Pixar movie.
That is an adult movie.
Would you say that about Coco?
Coco I think is more so for kids than Soul.
Yeah.
Soul to me was like, Soul like broke me. I was like,
I'll have to watch it too.
I was sobbing.
Soul was better than Luca. In my opinion.
But Luca's cool.
Luca's good.
But Toy Story is better than all of them.
Debatable, but
I think
I was about to say, I know we're talking about Toy Story, but what would you say is the best Pixar movie? Your personal preference.
It's a Toy Story film, I think.
Do you think it's Toy Story 3?
Toy Story 3. Well, hold on, everybody. Let me pull up Letterboxd, and I have my Pixar ranking right there.
Do it up. Ramona, do you have an answer?
Ratatouille.
That's not bad.
Okay.
Ratatouille is my favorite Pixar movie. Toy Story 2 is very close, but Ratatouille is by far my favorite Pixar movie. I will watch the movie any day, every day, and enjoy the hell out of it. I love it.
That movie's awesome. People people love that movie. I'm really weird about like trying to like understand things within their historical context.
Yeah.
So even though Toy Story isn't necessarily like my favorite Pixar movie, I still would rank it at the top just because I wouldn't have any of my favorites if Toy Story didn't succeed in the way that it does.
It was very significant to the genre for sure.
100%. I think it's truly like, I mean, and Ramona, like if you have anything more on this, but like I mean, Disney was had a pretty strong run from like the late 80s through like mid 90s after sort of going away in like the like earlier part of the 80s, and I would say even like most of the 70s. There was really like a Disney resurgence in animation in late 80s, early to mid 90s. And then Toy Story in 95 like really took things to like the next sort of level, like the next stratosphere of like what could be possible with animation. And obviously birthed like all of this Pixar stuff. But do you have anything more on that like specifically?
Being my age, I do remember, the animated resurgence of Disney with The Little Mermaid. That was something that my family and I watched a lot together. But it was also, The Little Mermaid, and then the Beauty and the Beast, and then Aladdin, and I think probably after The Lion King. I mean, Pocahontas was pretty. I remember seeing Pocahontas in the movie theater. But I feel like The Lion King was really the last major hurrah for Disney in terms of traditional animation. And then, of course, I'm 15 when Toy Story comes out. So I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. It's a new Disney thing, new computer animation. It didn't really capture me until I saw it years later. But it was so interesting to me how they were starting to kind of evolve that traditional. And I still do like traditional animation. But once you've seen something like Toy Story and Toy Story 2 and Monsters, Inc., I want to see more of that. I want to see that continue to evolve and get better. And I know that there's a lot of animation purists out there who just want to see that traditional hand-drawn animation. And some of it's really beautiful even today. But they can do so much because of Toy Story and Pixar. And even Shrek for me, I know DreamWorks and they kind of have fallen off, but going to see Shrek in the movie theater was fantastic. Just the humor, very adult-like, and it kind of felt like Pixar on their end was also bringing kind of in some of that adult humor, because now when I watch some of these older Pixar movies, I catch up to that humor that I probably didn't catch the first time I saw it.
Oh,
and you're like, okay.
Yeah, totally.
Kids aren't going to sit there and be like, what does that mean? But you're going to know what it means.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I just love about it.
That's actually something I wrote down in my notes. Like I didn't really remember how how funny Toy Story is. Like,
Oh, it's very, yes. The comedy is amazing.
I paused it like 10 minutes in, and I was like, I've laughed like 15 times. Like, there are so many good jokes. Obviously, like
Yes.
the Mr. Potato Head, look, I'm Picasso, and then
Yep.
the piggy bank is like, I don't get it.
And
That's a
and the
classic
9-year-old
one.
kid watching Toy Story is not going to have a clue who Picasso is, but the
Yeah,
parent will.
yeah.
And that's one thing I loved about it is I can see that now and be like, okay, I get what they're going
Yeah.
for here.
Like,
Like, it's cute.
This is like a legit like funny movie. Like, not even like I don't even need to watch it with a kid. I think that's like the biggest
Yeah.
thing about Pixar movies, and obviously with Toy Story, is that I can just like watch it like as an adult and like really enjoy the humor, the emotional and dramatic parts of the story as well. Like,
Yep.
it might be a little like some people might say it's like a little rudimentary, but like I still think it's like an effective dramatic story, and all of that. And I was dying at some of the jokes. Like, Mr. Potato Head is hysterical.
Mr. Potato Head is hysterical. I was very upset with him though because he was so ready to throw Woody under the bus or truck
Mhm.
because he thought he killed Buzz. I was like, come on, like this guy's
Yeah.
been with you for how long, and you're already like throwing him away. Like, you don't trust him. Of course, they all
throw
ended up
Woody under
doing
the
that, but
bus so quick.
yeah, throw him under the bus under the moving truck. But it did have that, Bo Peep telling Woody she's going to send the sheep away for the night. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, I was like, oh, spicy, like.
when Slinky's like telling Potato Head like, oh, Woody's like not all that bad, and Mr. Potato Head takes his mouthpiece off, and he's
Yeah.
putting it like up against his butt, like such a
So
silly
good.
joke, but it's like it's so good. It's so
It's stuff
good.
you can appreciate, if you were 15 watching it for the first time, or
Yeah,
you're my age watching it today. There's still so
yeah,
much about it that
100%.
it does. It holds up well.
It holds. I got to jump in now before we
Okay.
get too far along because I got about through four points I need to be.
Go for it.
What Ramona said. First, Toy Story 3 is at the top of my Pixar personal ranking.
Okay.
Toy Story 2 is third. Toy
Okay.
Story is 7th, and Toy Story 4 is 13th.
What's second?
Incredibles.
The Incredibles. Okay. That's my
Fourth,
husband's favorite.
Fourth is Monsters University.
Where's Ratatouille?
5th.
Okay, that's not that bad.
Not bad. Now, then Ramona was talking about seeing Shrek in theaters, and I'll say I have never seen a lineup for Shrek 2, or I have never seen a lineup outside a movie theater like I saw for Shrek 2. That's the only film. Well, our city was, or the movie theater we had to go to was in a city that, it was only one screen at that time. So Shrek 2, and the lineup was down the block for Shrek 2.
Shrek 2.
There was never that lineup for Marvel's The Avengers, anything since then that I've gone to. Hunger Games Catching Fire. There was a lineup for that. I had to leave. The theater was actually packed. They sold too many tickets. And
I remember a lineup for Titanic. I saw that movie many times in the theater. Always a line. Always.
That was Titanic, though, of course.
Titanic and Star Wars, the prequels. I worked there when those came out, and it was insanity. So, yeah.
And
that was it. But Shrek 2 is actually, I prefer Shrek 2 over Shrek.
I do, too. And then, Ramona, you said Lion King was the last good Disney Renaissance movie. Tarzan? Hello?
Tarzan's okay. I enjoy the soundtrack. I don't know about the movie.
Tarzan is my second favorite after Aladdin. But anyway,
okay,
Tarzan closed out the Disney Renaissance. But then also, we were talking about
in terms of just like being like a major sort of like cultural sort of like
box office,
like box office, like Academy Award nominations and things like that. Like, it was really that like Little Mermaid through Lion King run. Like, there were definitely awesome movies after that. Like,
guys, you guys have you guys never heard of the term Disney Renaissance? Guys, there's about 9 or 10 films that are called the Disney Renaissance films. Little Mermaid started it, and Tarzan's the end of it. Mulan.
Okay, I'll give you Tarzan.
Okay.
Hercules.
I wouldn't
Rescuers Down Under just gets thrown in there just because it came out after The Little Mermaid, so it's lumped in there. But yeah,
I think in terms of what Ramona's talking about, I think there's like I think there were a lot of good movies that came out after The Lion King, including Tarzan. Like Tarzan's awesome.
If we're talking box office, yes,
Mulan,
then
like Mulan is really awesome.
I liked Mulan.
Like there were so definitely cool movies. Like Pocahontas was cool, and stuff like that. Like it's like those are awesome movies. I just think in terms of like things that were like movies that were like real shakers in the industry in terms of this renaissance, I would still categorize it as Little Mermaid through Lion King, and then everything else after that was sort of a result of that little renaissance period.
this
And then
Tarzan disrespect.
and then with Toy Story, that sort of kicked off a new wave of a new animation sort of era.
I'm following what you're laying down there. And going back to what you guys are talking about, the adult humor in Toy Story, I think that's what actually Pixar gets a lot of credit for, is that, how Disney kind of popularized getting adults to the theaters was casting someone like Robin Williams, more recognizable names. And Pixar gets credit for having humor that kids can laugh at and then adults can laugh at. And so they're making jokes for the adult audience is what I think Pixar got a lot of credit for in those earlier films.
Big names too, though. I think that this is
they went all. I mean, the decline. I think Toy Story and a little part Disney as well. I mean, Pixar killed 2D theatrical animation, and it killed voice actors getting work in theatrical animated films in leading roles.
You had to have a big name. Yeah.
And I honestly don't get the big name anymore. Like now that I'm just like, if I'm, you get it for a bit, but you don't have to cast. Not every single role needs a voice actor. I don't think. Like
I agree.
For Toy Story, let's talk about the big names that they got, because I feel like that's a big part of the success of this movie and why it's so enjoyable.
Well, I think a big part also is the fact that these voice actors, like, they're still famous. Like they're still
doing work. Yeah,
they cast them because they were famous in the 90s, but they're still pretty well known, mostly for Disney stuff. Still, almost. I mean, you got Tom Hanks, who was huge in the 90s.
Is huge.
Tom Hanks was huge in film, and then they got Tim Allen, who was, I think, dominating Home Improvement at the time.
Yep.
So, and then Don Rickles.
Was this post the Santa Claus? So like,
this is 1 year after the first Santa Claus, I think.
I love the Santa Claus.
Santa Claus is great. The Santa Claus is also great.
I haven't watched
Tim Allen was kind of on the top of the world, like when this came out. Tom Hanks has always been on top of the world. So like, you cast him whenever, and it's
that was about Tim Allen. I'd say Tom Hanks. The mid 90s was when I think Tom Hanks was at his peak. Like it took him. It took him Forrest Gump, I think, to really shoot him. Well, big. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. But I think
Tom Hanks has always been on top of the world.
Well, it took him a while. Yeah. Like, he was a TV actor until like the late 80s, really. He had to get a couple hits on. Oh, I guess he had Splash. You know what, Raph? I'm contradicting myself the more I talk about Tom Hanks. Yeah. So. Nope, Tom Hanks. I mean, Tom Hanks has been everybody's favorite. But I feel like the mid 90s was when it was like Tom Hanks was on. Tom Hanks could do no wrong.
100%.
He just won for Forrest Gump. I think he won for Philadelphia that year as well in the 95.
Oh, was that 95?
Maybe.
Wasn't it back?
But either way, the voice, the 2 stars that they got for this movie were 2 guys who were absolutely on top of the world and could not be stopped. And
perfect.
And they were perfect for these characters. Yeah. Are you guys team Woody or team Buzz?
Team Woody. I think that he was a little over dramatic in the first film. I think that he learned his lesson. I'm glad he did, but we'll get to the MVP, but Team Woody all the way. Buzz just drove me crazy in the first movie.
The first film makes you root against Buzz. And like it's actively making you root against Buzz because Buzz is disrupting the utopia that they have built.
Well, he's disrupting the utopia. He's taking away Woody's leadership.
Yeah.
Woody's the one they all look towards because he's Andy's favorite. And now Buzz is kind of, he doesn't even realize he's doing it, which, you know, you got to give that to Buzz. He thinks that he's a space ranger. He doesn't understand what his presence is. Not to get too deep into Toy Story, but he doesn't realize what his presence is doing.
That's why
right?
we're here. Get deep
Yeah.
into Toy Story.
So
Do it.
We gotta talk about the whole sentient, what we think is going on in that, you know, when they realize they're a toy. That's kind of life shattering. That'd be like us
It's
finding
dark.
out that
we're a simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Toy Story was the Matrix before the Matrix.
Yes.
There we go.
Just that scene when Buzz realizes that he's a toy and he jumps off the banister to see if he can fly. Like, that's a very dark scene if you think about it.
Yeah, it's gutting.
Yeah.
And like the song is like really sad about like if I had wings.
And it's depressive mode.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
guy.
and then after that, back to the like adult jokes. After that scene when he loses his arm, and Sid's sister finds him and she's doing the tea party and he's hammered after he realizes that he's actually a toy.
Yes, I love that.
The best thing in animated films is when they let their characters get hammered.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
Tea.
The SpongeBob SquarePants movie, they get SpongeBob and Patrick absolutely hammered off ice cream, and it's the funniest thing. I love it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as a kid, you just think, oh, he's just like, it's a sugar rush kind of. But like, as an adult, you're like, you watch it back and you're like, oh my gosh, like,
jeez,
he's absolutely
hammered. He's plastered.
That's the version of Buzz going to the corner bar and getting wasted because he found out something about his life is a lie. It's just fake tea with I don't remember what Sid's sister's name was, but yeah, it's
But yeah, that's a heavy moment when
it is a very heavy moment, but it was so good.
Yeah.
The song, and I'm not a big fan of Randy Newman. Like, I know it sucks, but I love that whole scene. The whole sequence is wonderful.
I mean, shout out while we're in Sid's house. I mean, the shining carpet.
Yeah.
Ramona, as a Stephen King fan, I expected you to almost be.
I'm sorry. I know. I was too busy thinking about how Sid is a future serial killer in the making.
Actually, he's the future garbage collector in Toy Story 3.
You know what?
Really?
Yeah, that's.
You know what I was thinking?
Are you serious?
He is.
What?
I feel bad for Sid.
You feel bad for Sid?
Yeah, I feel bad for Sid and his sister.
Okay, explain.
They don't. While I was rewatching this through the eyes of a more mature film viewer, I realized that Sid and his sister, who I can't remember her name for the life of me, they don't have good parental role models. They don't have anyone guiding them in the right way. Like, Sid's mom allows him to buy dynamite and fireworks and explosives from God knows where. Like, is he just like finding catalogs of explosives and buying them? And his mom is like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, go blow yourself up in the backyard. Like,
oh my God.
These kids are. Sid is the product of a broken home. There, I said it. That's why I feel bad for Sid.
You can't argue with that. That is true.
Okay.
But I don't feel bad for Buzz because he kind of feels like he's an asshole.
What?
Buzz,
not an asshole. Come on. He just believes he's a space ranger.
Woody was trying to save him and get their asses out of that house, and he's just moping around. Oh, that drove me crazy.
Yeah. First he's delusional, then he's moping. Yeah. Like, come on, man, get it together. Get it together, Buzz.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about adult jokes, one of Sid's toys is a hooker.
That's true.
Which one?
The leg.
It's the fishing rod with the
legs.
The Leto's legs, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
With the legs, yeah.
I believe Ramona.
I think that was probably a Barbie that he stole from his sister. I'm still trying to remember what her name is. I know that her doll's name was Sally, or was her name Sally?
She probably didn't even get named. Oh no, Molly.
They're both Sally.
Molly. Is it Molly?
I don't know. Why don't we just do it for Google?
Molly is Andy's younger sister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sid, kid, daughter.
But so on the topic of, Buzz, Sid, who's actually a good character, who's an annoying character that we have no sympathy for. I feel like
Mr. Potato Head.
there could be a reading where Woody is kind of the annoying character that we shouldn't really sympathize with.
Yeah, he was very overdramatic, and he really just
he's really stuck in his ways.
He overreacted to a new toy completely.
He wasn't open to the idea of sharing Andy with someone else. He was he's jealous, he's insecure, he's overly protective. I think if this weren't like a kids movie, and if he weren't introduced to us as the main protagonist, the main hero of the story, if you're doing like a real like deep analysis, like character study of everyone in Toy Story, Woody, kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
So is Buzz. This is just
a movie
about
a lot of them have asshole moments. Yeah, for sure.
Kind of an asshole.
Yeah. Like, I kind of get it, but I don't get I don't agree with how he went about it. Buzz was an asshole. Mr. Potato Head was an asshole. Sid is an asshole, but I can give you his whole broken home, which do they ever, I had this question forever and I should have Googled it, but do they ever say where Andy's father is, or is that never touched on in any of the movies?
I think in like the first one, they like when they do like the pullback from the house, and what was it? Andy's sister got a Mrs. Potato Head. I think you can see like an outline, but is there? That's one of those conspiracy theories that people have. It's like, is Andy's mom a lesbian? Is Andy's mom is Andy's mom divorced? And then
God,
is Andy divorced, or is like
I like Andy... my true crime?
Andy, I've never heard
that's Toy Story 5.
Murdered. Yeah,
Toy Story 5 is when we learn about how Andy's mom murdered Andy's father
and made it look like an accident.
Yeah. No, that's the next Toy Story spin-off that nobody asked for.
I'm asking for it though.
It's the like Pixar's first adult thriller animated film.
I would watch that movie.
I would watch it too.
Yeah, she maybe that's why Woody is so protective over Andy, because he feels like he is Andy's only sort of positive male role model.
Yeah,
because his real dad was murdered
by his mother.
That makes sense.
Or he's just dead. I don't know, but I mean, props to Andy's mom. I mean, she's doing a big garage sale in the Toy Story 2 by herself.
Yep.
I mean,
with a toddler,
and that's how that's how Woody got stolen. So,
and maybe Potato Head is it. Maybe Mr. Potato Head is a little traumatized because he's the only one who witnessed the murder, and he has no one who he can confide in. Oh, you know what? You know what I was thinking? Slinky, the dog, is like a really depressed character. He has like very sad eyes. Yeah. Maybe he saw the murder.
He witnessed it. Yeah.
This
and it just hasn't been the same.
Itself. This is perfect.
Whoa,
Ramona, you introduced.
And you know why? It's because Andy's sister doesn't have the same father as Andy. Andy's mom was having an affair.
They look different, don't they?
Andy's dad found out, and she killed him.
Ugh.
Killed him for the insurance money.
Yes,
it's all coming together.
I'm going to need a Dateline on this real soon.
Yeah.
Dateline, Toy Story Dateline.
Yep.
Are we the sickest people in the world?
Yes, but that's okay.
To be talking about Toy Story this way.
I shouldn't be talking to such young men about murder and
murdering your husbands. Everything okay?
Right. I'll make sure my husband doesn't listen to this episode. He's going to think I'm twisted.
Sid's sister's named Hannah.
Hannah. Yeah. Hannah.
To bring it back. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, Hannah. Sid's sister. Yeah, that's all. That's
the assholes of Toy Story.
Nothing devious. No.
How everyone's an asshole.
Yeah, they all have.
But I did want to ask.
I mean, if we're talking about, what's kind of similar to murdering your husband is the Toys Are Alive, scared straight Sid moment.
Oh, that's brilliant. That like devolves into like horror movie.
That is like traumatizing
Yeah.
beyond
Oh,
belief
I
for
love
Sid.
it. I love it.
What is
I
it?
love it.
We're watching you or something, he says.
I
What
mean,
is it?
all of the scenes,
Yeah.
all of the scenes in Sid's house are like pretty
different
scary, and then you have that one like super depressing scene of Buzz
Jumping.
finding out that he's a toy. Like
Yeah.
the entire all of Sid's house is
Yeah.
just like it takes a really dark turn. The movie does in that moment. Not even moment for that extended period of time. Like it's kind of crazy.
It's crazy, like you said, that he can just order explosives and he doesn't have like the FBI showing up at his house.
Oh, he's ordering
You
those
know?
under his dad's name with his dad's credit card.
You think?
Oh yeah.
Still.
Is it explosives? What was it?
It was a
Dynamite?
rocket. It was a rocket. It was
Oh
probably a
yeah.
rocket.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was just on the back of a toy.
But he does like blow up like a G.I. Joe type
Commando
action figure at one
Carl.
point.
I bet his
whatever.
Yeah,
dad's in the
Commando Carl.
military, and his dad's got
Combat
internet
Carl.
access to all this. Yeah, Combat Carl.
Combat Carl.
Combat Carl says.
I did want to circle back to Sid's shining carpet.
Yes.
Are there any other Easter eggs similar to that you guys noticed? Because I was the only one that I picked up on, besides like the Picasso joke. But I don't even know if that's an Easter egg. That's it's like right there in the open.
Well, that's I think the only like non-Pixar Easter egg, like a different movie Easter egg that I can think of. I mean, Toy Story begins. Toy Story begins what? The Luxo ball, what is it? Ace 117, something like that. That shows up as license plates and conference doors, and then you got Pizza Planet, that truck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it begins the Easter eggs. But
but there aren't any.
Yeah,
other
there's a
ones
lot of Disney Easter eggs in the movie, but I think that the carpet is very.
Mm-hmm.
I
What are
think
some
that's
of the
a
Disney
true
ones?
blue Easter egg. The Disney ones. Let's see. I think that the books behind Woody when the birthday party starts, the books are all labeled after Pixar shorts.
Oh, cool. I saw that like some of the I actually paused that because I was like, I want to see if there's anything hidden in these book titles.
Yeah.
But one of the authors was Lasseter. And I think some of the others were like some of the other writers on the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. But I didn't know that they were shorts. That's awesome.
I think Tin Toy was definitely one by Lasseter. So that's what they did there. I know that they had Mickey, on the watch in Andy's bedroom. The hockey puck, I think that was a nod to Don Rickles. So, I mean, they have a lot of things here and there. But they all seem very kind of Disney inspired, except for The Shining, which is very adult. And I don't know that anyone but adults would recognize it, which is amazing. I like it because that tells you what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. It kind of like, I don't know if you see it first thing when you get to Sid's house, but it kind of it tips its cap like we're going into some spooky zones
dark
here.
Shit.
yeah. Shit's gonna get weird.
It's about to get real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gonna be explosives.
There's gonna be Sid. If
baby
you don't
heads with missing eyes and everything.
If you're not looking deep into Sid's backstory the way you did, you just see Sid as like he is a very disturbed young child.
Yeah, he's just
I mean,
torturing.
my nieces like to shave their Barbie heads, but that's about
Yeah.
it. They don't
Once you shave their heads, you can never get that hair back.
That is true. They do know that. It doesn't stop them, but
they're Sids in training.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just kidding.
Hopefully my sister doesn't hear this, but I wouldn't be surprised. I can see it happening.
Oh man. Okay, I feel like we've gone all over the place in Toy Story. We've touched on a lot of things. I'm sure there are a lot of things that we're still missing. Ramona, I think you mentioned that you were Team Woody. Duke, I don't know if we got an answer from you if you were Team Woody or Team Buzz.
I would say I would say Team Woody if gun pressed to my head. If Andy's mom had a gun pressed to my head, it would be Woody. But I do like Buzz. If I had, I like Tim Allen as a voice actor. I like Tim Allen as an actor
Mhm.
more than I like Tom Hanks, which is probably a controversial statement. Just because Tom Hanks, as a Canadian, I
bit.
can get away with that because Tom Hanks
Oh.
is America's favorite actor.
Okay.
Is Tim Allen
Is Tim
Canadian?
Allen Canadian?
No, I don't
Okay,
think
good.
so.
I was gonna say.
I could
But
see it though. I could see him as a Canadian.
But I do like Woody. I do like Woody. But Buzz, I think Buzz is better in the sequels. I'll say, like Woody and if
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
Toy Story, Woody. But once Woody and Buzz are kind of buddy buddy, then I like Buzz. Buzz has better lines, I think, and Buzz's relationship with Jesse, that's fun to watch.
That's fair.
And when he's Spanish, he gets Spanish mode.
We do
Toy
like
Story
Spanish
3.
Oh
Buzz.
yeah, that was hilarious.
Spanish Buzz is pretty funny. So
Yeah.
I do think that they're, again, if you're sort of taking this weird like deep dive look at Toy Story and the characters, I think Buzz can be a more sympathetic character, just based on sort of what he's going through and what he's sort of the situation that he's thrown into. All those things considered, I sort of get that. But if we're just like looking at it as a kid's movie, like, yeah, Buzz comes in and he's the jerk and he's messing up Woody's situation, and he needs to get out of there. But it could go either way. I think that's the sign of a good movie. Most
can
people
sympathize with both.
upon first watch of Toy Story,
Yeah.
but most people probably aren't looking at Toy Story as something that you can sort of really get deep into and analyze in that kind of way. But I think that's the beauty of, that's what Pixar brings to the table, and it starts off super strong with Toy Story. Like, this is more than just a kids movie. There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. I don't know if you guys agree with me, or if you
I do.
if you think
That's what makes it
sound
so
totally
great.
crazy.
I think we've just spent the last hour saying, yeah,
I mean, that's what sets it apart from other animated films. Because I can watch a Disney animated film and sit there and understand that this is for kids. But when I sit there and I watch Toy Story, I can understand this is for me too. And some of the movies are like that, but Toy Story, I think, is the one that really gripped me in terms of I can relate to it because of having toys when I was a kid and having my favorite and what I did when I thought I lost one. And, so hoping that they were real, but of course they're not. But it completely, watching it today, I was still blown away by all the things that I probably have missed in previous watchings. It just seems like there's always something that I can, the finger smudges on on Andy's window pane, like those details are just incredible. I love it. It just makes it feel real, which is what I love about the whole series.
I love that.
Has anyone seen Lightyear?
No. My husband did. He said it was okay.
Get your husband in here. I want to ask him if he actually thinks that was the movie Andy saw, because a lot of people say there's no way that would be the movie that Andy saw in 1995.
I don't think that would be the movie he saw. I think that was supposed to be like a real story, right?
No, that's the whole Lightyear. Like Lightyear begins with saying in 1995 or something, Andy saw a movie that was.
Oh, okay.
This is that movie.
It was just a toy.
Lightyear?
No, I mean, I thought like Buzz was just a toy. I didn't realize that there was like a movie from it.
Oh no, it was based on. Well, yeah, it was a movie, and
Buzz is based on.
They made that the Chris Evans Lightyear movie is supposed to be that movie that he saw.
Oh, that's interesting. But I never heard that theory.
It's not.
I'll have to ask if he remembers it.
So weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in terms of like adult themes and stuff, just like the whole setup of like the fear of being replaced that Woody has, and like the very obvious thing where Woody's a cowboy, which obviously represents sort of the old school, the old guard, and then you're being replaced by this literal spaceman, the final frontier. But like that's like not a that's kind of a deep concept for a kids movie, like the idea of fearing being replaced by someone else, and sort of how you reconcile with that person, and then build a friendship going forward. Just like things like that, like you don't see that in movies like, you know, in earlier animated movies for kids. And Toy Story really just like dives in fully.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I actually didn't really think that much about the fact that, you know, it was cowboys and spacemen and how that evolution between the two, you know, going into space and as opposed to Woody's, which I think, to jump ahead, but I think, you know, with Toy Story 2, him finding his people, so to speak, um, touches back on that a lot too. But that's actually a really good point. I like that it's both him being afraid of being replaced not only by Andy, but I mean, by technology, I guess, among
Yeah.
other things. You know, it's
Yeah.
I never really gave it a whole lot of thought, to be honest with you.
And that, I mean, if you're going technology route and taking it a step further, and what Toy Story is doing on the technology front of animation, you know, like kind of like hey, you know, we've been doing the hand drawn stuff for so long, but CGI is now here to change the game.
CGI is the future, yeah.
Yeah, you know, CGI is like Buzz, and you know, I might be reading a little bit too much into that, but it is an interesting conversation.
No, I see that completely, especially with
Raph,
how animation is evolved. Definitely.
Raph, now I want a movie. I want a Toy Story version of Toy Story where Woody is hand drawn and Buzz is in CGI.
Oh,
That would be
that's
awesome.
amazing.
Not like,
I mean,
that's the type of like Spider-Verse, Bliss and Boots,
yeah,
like the new
that's
Teenage
what I was
Mutant Ninja
thinking
Turtle.
with,
Like that's the type
yeah.
of animation mixtures they're doing now that I feel that'd be kind
I
of
like that.
Where you're playing with the actual format, you know. Yeah, Duke, that would be an awesome way to sort of incorporate that piece of the story. But yeah, guys, we I think we covered Toy Story in a way that it's never been covered before. I feel like we can confidently say that we explored some areas of this movie that have gone unexplored before, and I'm proud of us for that. I hope you guys are too.
I am too. I feel like we could, like Raph, you could categorize this one under the like the murder podcast, murder crime category. I think
This could be a true crime. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that
it's
this
film
might
and TV and murder mystery.
this could be what really gets us a whole new demographic on Screen Age Wasteland.
Yeah, we'll
The
tap
theory
into
of
that,
Andy's father being murdered. I love it.
That would make a great like a true crime limited series. Just like
Yes.
like
What
you take
happened
it
to
you
Andy's
take
father?
it really seriously. Yeah.
Let's take this discussion offline, but podcast pitch. We do a I guess like a narrative form true crime where we're making up a story about how Andy's mom killed his dad.
Yes, I am pitching that
Do you
right
think
now.
Pixar
Yeah.
would sue us?
And we do
If
that
we
series.
classify it as parody, we're good. Pixar
Oh, that's
can
true.
like a-
Satire.
like a 20-part series on that. It'd be amazing.
200 at that point. We got to beat The Simpsons. 500 episodes.
Why
I'm
not?
down.
Why
You had me at
not?
True Crime Podcast.
Yeah. We're expanding. Always
Definitely.
expanding. Sweet. Unless you guys have anything else, I think we can sort of get into our final pieces of the show. We'll run through our MVPs, we'll run through our 3 recommendations, and yeah, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. For MVPs, Duke, why don't you go first? No cheating.
No cheating. Okay.
Can you cheat?
No, I don't know if you can cheat on the MVP, but after giving Raph 5 movie recommendations, I've earned the right for him to be wary.
You're on thin ice.
Man, MVP. I gotta go with. Ooh, this is a tough one. Too many good ones. Pizza Planet. Those aliens. The Claw.
Oh,
MVP for. I'm going. Best moment. Best quoted moment. It's the Claw.
Are we supposed to do best moment?
Anything. MVP,
Okay.
most valuable player /
It can be
Claw.
anything. Yeah, it can be a quote. It can be a quote. It can be a character, an actor, a technical person. It could be Steve Jobs. You know, it could be anyone. It could be
Tim Burton.
anyone. Is that your
No.
MVP?
No, that's not my MVP.
Could be.
No, I think my MVP is Woody because of his development from being a sore sport and insecure and asshole up until, the end when he came together and he saved Buzz along with Sid's other toys. I think that he grew the most throughout the whole movie. So I would say that Woody would be my MVP of the entire film.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that answer. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of who I want to nominate for my MVP. There are so many great aspects of this movie, so many great characters, so many great moments. But I think I'm going to go for my MVP just because I was super surprised to see this person's name. And I just want to mention them. But I'm going to go with Josh Whedon because I didn't realize that Josh Whedon co-wrote Toy Story, which is wild to me. And I just had to fit that into this episode at some point. So that's fine.
He's not credited though, is he?
He's credited.
Is he?
He is.
I forgot about
credited
that.
as a co-writer for this,
okay.
Which is just bananas. And
Let's see he did something right.
Yeah. I had to look it up. I was like, wait, it can't be that Josh Whedon. Like that's another guy, right?
Yeah.
Nope, it's him. It's totally him. He co-wrote Toy Story,
Okay.
which is very bizarre. But good for you, Josh Whedon. You did something. You got something right.
Avengers?
Well, no, Avengers
Yeah, it's
is
good stuff.
awesome. He's done other cool stuff.
He's just a
but he
terrible
will-
person, but he has done some really good things.
He will always be remembered for.
I mean, Buffy. So
Yeah, Buffy's cool.
yeah,
Buffy's really
Buffy.
cool. But yeah, he'll be remembered for being a not so great guy and for
Which is a shame
Justice
because he
League
did create
stuff.
some really good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, creators, if you're gonna create stuff, don't be a shitty person. It's really easy. It's really easy to not be.
Be better at hiding how shitty you are, like everybody else in Hollywood.
You can't hide it anymore. It's impossible. So anything you say or do is going to get out. So
if you have enough money, you can hide anything.
We'll see.
Just ask Andy's mom. Where's the body? We don't know. Where's Andy's mom?
Ask Andy's mom.
She moved real fast, didn't she?
Exactly. Probably under that house. Under that old house. That's where it is. Under the floorboards.
Convenient time to be moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably in Sid's backyard, but we'll get to that in another show.
Interesting.
Let's get into recommendations. Everyone's favorite time of the episode. This is why we're all here, really.
Yeah.
Murders aside, we're here for recommendations.
Then you're gonna love my recommendation.
Oh, sweet. Is it murder related?
A little.
Okay, Ramona, I think you just offered to go first, so we'll go Ramona, Duke, and then me, and then
Am I giving all three or just one at a time?
We'll go one at a time, and then we'll go around in a circle, and then at the end we'll do a quick recap.
Okay, so so my first recommendation was actually my last recommendation that I thought of because I panicked and couldn't think of a third one. But in terms of toys coming alive and wreaking havoc, I picked Child's Play. So if you like Toy Story, I fully recommend giving Child's Play. If you want a little darker side of what toys do when they come to life, definitely give Child's Play. And not the TV show or the newer movies. I want old school, original 1988 Child's Play. That's the only one that ever scared me.
That's incredible. Chucky still scares the shit out of me.
Chucky, yep.
Yeah. Can't do it. I've never seen it. I'm too scared.
You've never seen Child's Play?
No.
Well, now I'm recommending it to you because you like Toy Story.
You're not
I gotta check it out now.
Yes.
Whoa. Duke, what's your first recommend?
I'm going to go. I'll do this one first since I've already mentioned it. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, DreamWorks Animation's latest film. Uh, it's amazing. The animation. It's if we're talking about how Toy Story was groundbreaking in terms of animation and CGI, I think Puss in Boots elevates that. I mean, Spider Verse, you got to give that a shout out in terms of it kind of let studios know that you can do other things. But Puss in Boots, the movie, kind of gives it that fairy book. It's almost like a watercolor, like a painting type texture. Where Spider Verse had comic book, this has like fairy tale watercolor painting drawings that you might see in a fairy tale book. It's just gorgeous to look at. And I mean, just look at the Puss in Boots budget. I mean, I don't know why animated films cost 200 million now, because Puss in Boots was, I think, half that. And it's just beautiful to look at. Great story, great voice acting. And again, this isn't a movie you can take your kids and adults to. I mean, Puss in Boots suffers with the death. Death is
Morality.
constantly. Yes,
Mortality, yes,
and like
mortality.
Puss in Boots has like panic attacks. It's
Oh.
just this great film. One of the like it's Shrek 2 and then it's Puss in Boots 2 like right under it, and then you can do Shrek and
Interesting.
the rest. So yeah, no,
I'll
it
have to watch that one.
Puss in Boots: The
I've
Last
heard
Wish
great
is my
things.
first pick. Yeah, you guys got to watch it if you haven't. I mean,
Yeah.
Dahlgren watched it, and he doesn't watch a lot of movies now, and he loved it. He actually wrote an editorial on Screen Age Wasteland. So,
Nice.
I mean, we got the
Nice.
Dahlgren's
Yeah.
vote. You got my vote. You don't need anybody else's vote. Go watch this movie.
Amazing. Yeah, I've only heard great things. We'll definitely be checking it out at some point. Cool. All right. For my first one, I know we talked a lot already about favorite, best, whatever Pixar movies. There's one Pixar movie that to me holds a really special place in my heart. And it's not Soul, surprisingly, although Soul is awesome. If I were doing a 2-for-1, Soul would be my second pick in the twofer. But I'm just gonna do a 1-for-1. This is my favorite Pixar movie. I think it's not only a great Pixar movie, it's not only a great animated movie, it's one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. I just got the Criterion release 4K disc of it. I'm super excited to check it out. My first recommendation is Wall-E. I adore that movie.
Wall-E is so good.
So good.
So good.
So good.
I'm glad you guys endorsed that pick.
Raph,
That
if
would've been
we're
really
talking, if we're
Yeah.
talking how you had the bootleg TV recording of Lion King, I think it was a used Blockbuster copy that they sold. That's what I had for Wall-E. Like it didn't
That's
have
amazing.
the not the slip cover, but the insert, whatever the
Yeah,
covering.
yeah.
It had just
I've
it
purchased
just had the front. It
secondhand
just had the
DVDs
front.
from
It just had the
Blockbuster.
front part that they slid in, and yeah. So that's my Wall-E memory. Yeah, great film.
Wall-E's
That's
fantastic.
amazing.
Definitely top 5.
Oh, thank you guys. I'm glad you guys support my pick.
Yes.
Ramona, what's your next one?
My next pick is a book. It was also a film, but I prefer the book just for nostalgia reasons. But in going with the theme of having to face reality of, growing up and, in terms of, I'm thinking of Toy Story almost as a whole series, not just the first one, but Where the Wild Things Are. That book
Nice.
was one of my favorites growing up. And I did enjoy the movie, but there's just something about the animation, the story, this kid going off to an island, becoming something different, and then realizing, he misses home and he wants to be his own person again. And I don't know, it just gives me all the feels for it. And I can see some parallels to Toy Story in that. So that would be my second pick.
Absolutely. That's a great pick. That's a great shout.
Yeah.
Wonderful book. I've never seen the movie. I'd like to check it out though.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome.
I don't have anything
That's
bad to say about it. It's a little
yeah.
long for me, but they have to do
Okay.
that with books these days. So, but I would
Yeah.
recommend it. Yeah.
Awesome. Great picks. Duke, what's your next one?
I'm going Disney related, but book wise, I'm doing The Ride of a Lifetime, which is Bob Iger's autobiography about his 25 plus year career at Disney, from ABC all the way to CEO.
Nice.
And there's a bit about, him talking to Steve Jobs about selling Pixar and continuing their relationship, and just a lot of good stuff about Disney's relationship with Steve Jobs, and about how Iger believes that if Steve Jobs was still alive and running Apple, that they would have probably merged their companies together.
Oh, dang.
That would have been...
wow, that's terrifying for like
Yeah.
monopoly purposes. that's not cool. Not saying that I'm glad Steve Jobs is dead, but that would have been horrifying if those two companies merged.
Would have been a powerhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Be beyond a powerhouse.
But beyond that, there's a lot of just good tidbits about his time at Disney. Kind of like a true rise. He started as like a gaffer or a gopher, just fetching coffee, and he slowly built his way up. And then it talks about how he almost left Disney because it didn't look like he was going to get the job they were kind of grooming him, but then it also seemed like he was going to just get passed up at the end. So a lot of good tidbits about, and of course, acquisitions, Star Wars, Marvel,
everything,
how he managed to get those put together, and Fox at the end. So
is he still?
That's awesome.
He came back now. Like he left. Like this. I think he's coming out with an updated. I think he was going to do an updated book to finish off, because I think this came... I don't know. Anyway, this came out before he left. Then he left. Then it didn't work out with the other Bob, and now he's back for 2 years. So we'll see how he...
Didn't he leave right before COVID, and then he came back and
if we're talking conspiracy theories, there were people saying that Bob Iger knew that COVID was coming, and that's why he chose to step down before his contract had ended. And then that's why he threw the other Bob under the bus, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, guys, you guys are reading way too much into this.
Yeah. God bless the internet.
Almost as much as we're reading into Toy Story.
These moms.
Yeah.
But that's my second pick. If you're a Disney fan and you're interested about kind of the business end, you can't go wrong with Ride of a Lifetime.
Sweet. Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a swell read. I might check it out. Okay, guys, I'm excited for my second pick, because this is where I get a little weird with it. I gave you guys a preview that for one of my picks for this movie, I would be doing a restaurant. And this restaurant, if you're familiar with it, and once you hear the name, I mean, for both of you guys, and for anyone who's listening, you will have like a total shot of nostalgia just injected straight into your brain. So there was this restaurant in New York City that was pretty popular from like the late 90s to like mid to late aughts. It was a big like tourist attraction. People would go there from like out of town. Also, if you were a kid growing up in the greater New York City tri-state area, you probably either went to or had a birthday party at this place. I was reminded of it from the scene when they go to Pizza Planet. But there was this restaurant in Midtown Manhattan that was so weird, but so cool, and probably not that cool. But just, I remember it as being cool. Have you guys ever heard of Mars 2112?
No.
I
was ready for you to say Chuck E. Cheese.
I was ready. I was thinking Chuck E. Cheese too.
Dude, so Mars 2112 was this bizarre themed restaurant in Midtown Manhattan.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was Mars themed, right? And like you go in and there's like you have to wait in line because there's this like spacecraft thing that you get on, and it's like a little like mini ride thing, and it like shakes you and jolts you around and stuff. And then it ends and it's like,
That
oh
sounds
my god,
terrible.
we've traveled through space and time. Like, where can we be? And then you get out the other side of the spacecraft, and you're in the restaurant, and the whole thing is designed to look like Mars in the year 2112, and there are people in like crazy costumes. The food sucked. There's like crazy decor everywhere. It was just absolutely wild. It was like, just imagine Pizza Planet on like crack steroids. That's essentially what this place was.
Oh boy.
I'm going to look this up.
I
after we're
Look
done.
it up.
looked it up. Wikipedia
You
has
do?
like 2 paragraphs. It's not a lot,
Are
but
there
I mean,
photos?
there's a couple photos. It looked pretty cool, like the stylized sign out front. Looked kinda cool.
Okay. That sounds like fun. I don't want to be shaking around, but that sounds like it'd be fun.
It was wild. It was
Any
it was a
animatronics?
funny place.
I don't
I
think
think
Chuck E.
they're
Cheese even has animatronics anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
so this place, Mars 2112, actually closed maybe like 10, 15 years ago, which is an absolute tragedy. So next time you
Oh.
guys visit New York, unfortunately, you won't be able to go there.
We can visit
but
where
Sorry.
it was.
yeah, whoever has been there, will continue to hold it in our hearts and in our minds.
Aw.
And listener, if you have ever been to Mars 2112, please hit me up, DM me about it, just so we can shoot the shit about one of the weirdest dining experiences that anyone has ever had.
I love that. That's amazing.
Sorry for my rambling, but I had to take us there for a minute. But Ramona, back to you.
Oh man, I have to follow that up. So my last recommendation is just going back to what we were talking about in the beginning with Tim Burton, and I am recommending The Nightmare Before Christmas because it is tied a little bit to how Toy Story came to be, and I can find justification in anything. So I'm going to say that I see the parallels between Jack and Buzz, thinking they're one thing, looking for something
Mhm.
different, having to cope with, you know, Buzz not being what he thought he was and Jack realizing what he really is. So, plus, I love the animation in it, the stop motion animation. I wish they would make more of those films. And it's just one that I love to watch whenever it's on. So, I would say The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Amazing, an
Yeah.
amazing pick. Can't go wrong with
No.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
So good.
So good.
Never seen it.
An absolute
Whoa,
classic. I don't know
whoa,
if it's on the
whoa,
canon
whoa,
or in the
whoa,
canon.
whoa. Whoa. You've never seen The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Nope.
What?
Never interested me. Never. I
Oh,
looked at it and I was like, I'll watch it
Wait a minute.
eventually.
I'm going to have a
Is it,
panic
you
attack.
guys don't have Halloween in Canada, right?
We have Halloween Town now. There's
No. Oh, God. Killing me. Oh, I can't.
He'll watch it. He'll
I'll
watch
watch
it
it.
eventually.
This
Please.
This Halloween.
Just watch. Please watch it.
Is it a Christmas or more Halloween?
Okay. Not to get too deep into this, because it happens every year like the frickin' Die Hard. Nightmare Before
$1,000,000
Christmas
question.
takes place during Christmas. So in my mind, it's a Christmas movie. However, I do not beseech people who want to watch it during Halloween as well, because I do. But it is a Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody, I know that the people who've created this and who were involved in it
There
say
you
it's
have
not a
it.
Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas movie. I will die on this hill. So is Die Hard. I will die on that hill too.
Okay.
Sweet.
Watch it this year.
I'll
Don't
watch
get me
it.
started. I could talk for a long
Yeah.
time about how it's a Christmas movie.
Duke, we'll check in. We'll have this trio back on the pod at some point later in the year, and we'll check in to make sure that Duke has
We'll
We'll
done some.
watch The Nightmare
Yeah.
Before Christmas.
Yep.
Okay. Fair.
Duke, what's your final recommendation?
My turn, eh? My final recommendation is Where is Andy's Dad? A true crime podcast coming to teenage podcasts this fall. No, I'm joking. Adventures of Tintin, Steven Spielberg. Motion captured and then animated based off the motion captured of all the actors. I mean, it's so good. It's a shame. We were supposed to get a sequel. I mean, this is Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson, Edgar Wright had a hand in the script. I mean, and then we were supposed to get a sequel with Peter Jackson was going to direct it, and there was no way the third film you wouldn't have got Edgar Wright to direct it. I mean, you have all this creative talent, both behind and in front of the camera. Didn't do that good at the box office, unfortunately, but there's some great.
How is the animation compared to, say, the Polar Express?
Oh, much better. Like they motion captured it, and then it was just like traditional, like CGI animation.
Okay.
Like it's not.
It wasn't completely like the Polar Express.
No, it's not. Okay. Like it's kind of they went off. Well, I think Anyway, whatever they did, it made them ineligible for an Oscar for animated features. So
okay,
whatever. So
interesting.
But yeah,
I've never seen it.
No, me either.
Oh, it's so good. You got to watch.
It's never been something that's been on like my radar to see.
Need to.
But yeah, I love now it's being added to the list.
Every couple of years, I do a quick Google search to see if any of them have talks about the sequel. But Peter Jackson was going to do it. Then he got busy doing The Hobbits, which I mean, I would have rather had 3 Tintin movies than 3 Hobbit movies, but. And then, I don't know, then Peter Jackson got busy doing his documentaries, and then, I don't know, Spielberg, I guess, lost interest. But I would love it. I mean, it's animated, so the cast can age, but the characters will never. And I would love to see a sequel one day. They had it, I mean, there's so many books, Tintin books, and, I mean, there was a TV show. I mean...
Plenty of story for them to choose
from. Plenty of story. I think this one combined elements from 3, and then they were going to combine elements of another 3 stories into the sequel. And I think it was written. I don't know what happened, but no, that first film we have, though, it is great. Yeah. Adventures of Tintin. It's underrated, I think. I don't think a lot of people know about it because it wasn't from like one of the big animation studios like Pixar or DreamWorks.
Went pretty quickly too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's a shame, but no, Adventures of Tintin, it's great. Watch it.
Okay.
Nice. We'll add it to the list. Okay, guys. This is where it always gets hard because I have 2 right now, and I want to cheat like Duke, but I respect the rules of the world that we live in and the podcast that we
let me get my Kermit the Frog black hood, and I'll just say do it.
Yeah.
Do it. We can do that meme, and then we can do it.
Yeah, and we'll insert meme here, and then I'll just go ahead.
Feel the dark side coursing through your brain. I don't know what that's from Star Wars, right? I don't know.
It's got to be from one of them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna save one for another episode because I think I'll be able to tie it in somewhere else.
You're such a goody 2 shoes, Raph. Just give us both.
Well, here's the thing, Duke. If I'm gonna enforce these rules for others, I need
to ban yourself.
I have to follow myself.
You have to live.
I need to set a good example. I need to lead from the front. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm setting the tone for the rest of our team to make sure that we're all following the rules the ways that we should be. But yeah, I know which one I'm going to keep and which one I'm going to leave. And the one I'm going to keep is kind of a silly tie back to Toy Story. And I'm going to go with Toy Story, right? It's this movie about an odd couple. And they have to come together and they have to become a team in order to save themselves, really. Just so happens that in 1995, there was another great movie about an odd couple that in a very similar fashion butted heads at first, but quickly had to come together in order to, achieve something higher than themselves. That movie is, of course, and it's funny because Ramona mentioned Die Hard earlier, but I'm going with Die Hard with a Vengeance with Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson. I love it.
Not
A
the
great
Odd
Odd
Couple
Couple.
movie I thought you were going to bring up from 1995.
Wait, what's the other one?
I want to make sure. Oh, Grumpier Old Men.
I love that movie too.
I've never seen that. I was like thinking of Odd Couple movies, and I looked up Die Hard with a Vengeance, and I was like, oh, this would be awesome, but like kind of weird. And then I saw that both movies were 95, and I was like, perfect.
I love that one.
Die Hard with a Vengeance is the
it's
best.
so good.
Best Die Hard sequel, hands down.
I might have to agree with you.
Yeah,
well, it's not hard competition,
but
that's also true.
that's a different conversation. All right, before we get out of here, guys, this has been a ton of fun. Ramona, I'm happy that we finally got to have you on. Duke, it saddens me so much that we had to have you on. you being the cheater that you are. I'm just kidding, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on. You are truly the glue that holds all of Screen Age Wasteland together. Yeah. None of us could do any of the stuff that we do.
Or we forget to do it.
Or we forget to do it. You keep everything together. So it's more than a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, stop it. Okay, no, go, keep going. No, it's all you guys. Screen Age Wasteland is nothing without the majority, I always say.
But just remember, you are banned from the podcast, though.
Yeah, I'm banned for 1 week. So
you're great, but
don't even listen to this episode, you guys.
No, please listen to this episode. Well, if you're here, you've already listened to the episode.
That's true.
Before we get out of here and say our final goodbyes, let's just run through their recommendations one more time. Ramona, you can start us off.
Okay, my recommendations were Child's Play, 1988, Where the Wild Things Are, the book, of course, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. I think you could do all of that in one night and have an excellent evening.
You'd have the best time.
Get a drink, get some popcorn. Yeah. Yep, perfect.
Lovely. Duke, what are your 3?
My 3 recommendations are Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The Adventures of Tintin, which you could do a double feature the night after doing Ramona's recommendations. And then for the next month, before bed, you could read a chapter of Bob Iger's autobiography, The Ride of a Lifetime.
Amazing. My 3, the best Pixar movie, WALL-E, the now gone but never forgotten restaurant Mars 2112, and the great Odd Couple movie of 1995, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Duke, Ramona, seriously, thank you guys so much. This has been a blast. Do you guys have anything that you want to plug? Any upcoming articles or anything that are coming up on the website that you guys want folks to be on the lookout for, or anything like that?
Ramona, plug your website.
My website? Oh boy, I might be talking to the wrong demographic here, but you can, my name, Ramona Comet, you can find me at theromcomcatalog.com. If you like rom-coms. If you don't, then I wouldn't recommend going to that website.
Amazing.
Ramona, Raph, and myself.
Were amazing.
Yeah, rom-coms are good.
There's got to be some on the Canon, because
I think when Harry Met Sally made the Canon. The written Canon, everybody. So don't get your hopes up. It's not.
No, it'll be on here.
Eventually, I'll get Ramona back on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all 3 of us have write-ups in the 100 greatest Warner Brothers movies list that is currently dropping daily on ScreenAgeWasteland.com to celebrate Warner Brothers' 100th anniversary. We kicked off the Canon to celebrate Warner Brothers 100th, and now we are kind of closing out the month with this list.
It's gonna be great.
Sweet. Yeah, guys, check it out. Listener, we appreciate you joining us and sticking with us. If you enjoy the show, you can follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. If you're feeling a little frisky, you can leave us a review. You can leave us a rating. We would really appreciate it. It helps other folks, find the show. If you like it, you can also follow us on Twitter. You can follow the Screen Age Wasteland main Twitter feed at Screen Age Wasteland, or is it at Saw Wasteland, Duke?
It's at SA Wasteland. Yep.
You can follow us at SA Wasteland on Twitter to find the Canon podcast and all of the other Screen Age Wasteland podcasts. You can follow Saw Podcasts on Twitter. You can stay up to date on new episodes, new shows, all that good stuff. You can chat with all of us, the entire Screen Age Wasteland family. We want to hear your guys' movie thoughts as well. Tell us what you think about Toy Story. Is it awesome or super awesome? But yeah, seriously, I think the three of us agree super awesome.
Super awesome.
Super awesome. But why is it called Toy Story when it's a movie? Shouldn't it be called Toy Movie? I don't know.
Oh, that's a whole different podcast to talk.